just wanted to make sure everyone knows Mary Sue Milliken from Border Grill Truck. She's going to demonstrate Peruvian ceviche tonight, so without further ado.
Thank you. Well, I love to be interrupted, so interrupt me with any questions you have. But I'm going to make our Peruvian ceviche that we serve at Border Grill, both downtown and at the Border Grill in Santa Monica and on our truck. And what makes it actually Peruvian is this yellow ají amarillo, which is a gorgeous chili pepper that has an amazing perfume and really delicious, delicious smell. And we use it a lot actually because we fell in love with it and it tastes so incredible. Can we smell it? Yes, please. And also we use only sustainable seafood at Border Grill. So here's a little seafood watch card if you're not familiar with this from the Monterey Bay Aquarium. You can stick it in your pocket and be sure and ask when you're at restaurants if they have a non-sustainable kind of fish on the menu that's on the avoid list, the red one. You can say, you know, hey, what's going on? Why are you serving that fish? I want fish for my grandkids. So if we all were to eat sustainable seafood, we'd have enough to last. So a great ceviche, how do you make it? Actually, use a good sustainable seafood. This one is local from California sea bass. And I'm cutting it first across the grain like this. I'm going to make it into a nice little dice. And then we're going to marinate it in fresh squeezed lime juice. Really, the whole thing about ceviche is fresh, fresh, fresh. Freshly cut onions, freshly squeezed lime juice. If it was squeezed yesterday, or if the fish was cut yesterday, or the onions were cut yesterday, it's just, you can tell the difference. It really tastes completely different. So, and I am going to slice this sea bass up. The other thing that we use in this particular one, ceviche, is ginger, which goes really nicely with that Peruvian ají amarillo.
Are we going to get to taste this?
Yes, you are definitely all going to get to taste it. We have a whole platter of it in another room, actually. But I'm going to try to cut a little bit more as well. I'm going to cut from this side too.
And your sea bass is from where?
Sorry?
The fish is from?
The sea bass is from right here locally in the deep water. And it's a pretty nice big, this is the season for the California sea bass. It's really gorgeous right now. And a lot of times we buy a lot of our seafood from Alaska, which the state of Alaska has in its constitution that all the seafood that's fished there is wild and sustainable. And you'll notice, I have my blue cutting board is for fish, and my white one is for vegetables. But I'm actually not a fan of plastic cutting boards. I don't know if you guys are designing your kitchens. I'll give you a couple pointers because I just designed mine. I really like wooden cutting boards. They're much easier on your knife blade, and I find them just as safe and fine as any other, as the plastic ones. And the knives you have to be so careful of. You want to keep them sharp all the time so you don't ever leave, like if you cut up, I'm going to cut limes right now. You don't want to ever, I immediately wipe the blade of my knife off because otherwise that acid just sits there eating away the nice sharp edge that you have. So I like to keep my knives clean. I never put them in the dishwasher. I don't usually use plastic cutting boards except for, not at home anyway. I do always in the restaurant because the health department demands it. But if you're designing at home, a nice wooden cutting board that you keep really clean is absolutely the best for your knives.
What do you sharpen your knives with?
I usually have a steel. I didn't bring mine tonight, but I just I put it on the steel, and then when it gets really dull again, I put it on a stone. But that's only like every month or so. It's not that often, and I use my knife all the time, as you can imagine. So we're going to put just enough lime juice to cover. And let that sit, it only takes about 10 minutes, or even less, 5 minutes maybe. In the meantime, I'll show you how we do the vegetables. We're gonna cut red onion. A good ceviche has a really good amount of crunch to it. So I like a little bit of red onion. I leave the core end in, and then I just slice horizontally, about 3 or 4 slices, and then not all the way through, so that core is holding all those layers of onion together. And then I do vertically. And then the third cut is just a quick, beautiful dice that doesn't get all mushed up or all over the cutting board. So like that. And then I'm going to put all the garnish in here and mix it with the fish when it's time. I'm going to put a little bit of tomato as well.
You don't take that edge of that onion and chop that up as well?
Well, this part I usually put it in the stalks, but I can absolutely. I just didn't do quite. I mean, I might add that back in. It depends on how much I need. But absolutely, you can turn this on the edge and cut it like that. And then when it gets a little bit down to the end, I do a little bit more. I can use the whole thing, just avoiding that little bit of core, because that's going to be tough.
Gotcha.
So then, I'm going to add a little bit of tomato, a little bit of fresh ginger. The ginger, actually, I like to... I like to cry.
So how do you avoid that, Chef?
Well,
onion situation.
It's impossible, actually.
I heard if you put a piece of bread or a piece of celery.
You know, I think the compound in the onion that makes you cry is attracted to water, so it comes straight into your eyes. And maybe if you have the water running, but this sink is not quite hooked up yet. So we're going to put a little bit of this nice fresh ginger in, and then a little bit of, I'm just making enough here to get everybody started. And I can always add more. This is what I tell the cooks all the time, is don't put it all in at once, because you can always add more, but you can't take it away once you put it in there. I'm going to put a little bit of the ají amarillo, a little bit of fresh squeezed olive oil, or not fresh squeezed, but not that long ago. And a little bit of the fresh lime juice, and a little orange juice as well. But you see, I have such a habit of wiping off the blade of my knife because I don't like to have to sharpen them very often. I think I'll use this. This is my favorite strainer that I keep with me at all times. Yes, exactly. I can keep the seeds from going in. So you're making sort of an emulsion here. A little bit of salt and fresh ground pepper. Hey, Monique. Using this knuckle to guide my knife and keeping your thumb behind you. That's where I got into trouble on Top Chef Masters. My thumb snuck out and chopped the end of it off. And that happens to me about once every decade. Yeah, it does happen. Oh. Let's see, this might need a little more lime, but it's getting close. We're going to garnish it with a little bit of chopped tomato and a little avocado. You want to be able to taste the chili, taste the cilantro, taste the ginger, still taste the fish without it being too strong. And so then I'm going to put a little bit of this tomato. I think I'll just, usually we put it on top, but I think I'll put it in today.
You cut the tomato like that to avoid the seeds?
Yeah, we avoid the seeds. That's called supreming the tomato, but we use it in our tomato salsa. So we put the ends of the onion and the tomato, we put it all in our table salsa. So we actually don't waste anything. We try to keep our prices you know, it's a sin to waste food. As I keep telling my 13-year-old son when he leaves something on the table, it drives me crazy.
So what do you call that? When you get the tomato?
Supreme.
Supreme.
Or, yeah, tomato petals. Or now, we always use these gorgeous California avocados. You just take the top off. I never point the knife towards my body or towards my fingers. If I can help it, I wouldn't go like this. You never know when the pit is going to have, you know, be starting to sprout, and your knife might just go through there. So you wouldn't want to take the pit out like this, which we did in I didn't do it, but one of my employees had like 160 stitches. But instead, you just knock the pit into the knife blade, and it pops right off. And then I love to, we live in the most gorgeous climate for the most beautiful produce and fish, and these avocados are just perfect. The California avocados, which are at the height of their season right now. Okay, so this, I believe, is ready, and I'm just going to, I think I'll just add the tomato right in. Sometimes we put it on top, sometimes we put it in. And then what I'll do is put a little, I'm going to take some slices of avocado, so each piece has a little bit of avocado on top. And maybe a tiny bit of salt on there.
Beautiful.
And then you guys are going to get to taste it and tell me what you think. So here, I'll just try to get a few ready at once. So you don't have to all. Do you guys have any questions? Come and take